So now we'll be looking at the equation of a straight line. So when we have a straight line, how do you write out an equation that represents it? So a straight line is defined by the equation y is equals to mx plus c, where m is the slope and c is the intercept on the y-axis. So in the previous module, we have talked about how to find the slope of a line. And the slope of a line is found by identifying 2 points, and when we've identified those 2 points, then we say the slope is equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now the intercept at the y-axis represent the point at which the line crosses the vertical axis, and at that point that represents our intercept or value c. So let's look at the next examples, and here we are told to find the slope and y-intercept of the following equations of a straight line. So we are given that y is equals to 3x plus 5, and from here we are told to find the slope and the y-intercept. So what we want to do is we want to compare it to the general form of the equation. So the general form says that y is equals to mx plus c. So y is corresponding to y, x is corresponding to x, so we can trace out m, or we can compare. So here we see that m is equals to 3, and what is the value of our c? Equivalent to 5, so my c is equals to what? 5. So the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that the equation is in the general form. Then we'll compare it to the general form, which is y equals to mx plus c, and try to read out the value of m and c, where m is the slope and c is the intercept. Now in this second form, we can see that this is not in the general form. So what is the first thing we have to do? We have to convert this to the general form by making y the subset of formula. So we have 3y plus 2x is equals to 3. So I have what? 3y. If I bring 2x to the other side, I have is equals to minus 2x plus 3. Now if I divide through by 3, what do I have? I have y is equals to minus 2 over 3x plus 3 divided by 3 is 1. So now I can compare this to the general form of the equation. So I have y is equals to minus 2 over 3x plus 1, and I can compare that to y is equals to mx plus c. So now that y is subset of formula in both equations, I can compare and read out my value of m and c. So here x is common to m, so m value will be equals to what? Minus 2 over 3, and the value of c, which is my y-intercept, is what? 1. So to recap, the first thing you have to do is to make sure that the equation you are given, y is the subset of formula, and when you make y the subset of formula, you can compare it to the general form of the equation and read out the value of the slope and the intercept. So how do we calculate the equation of a line now? So let's imagine we have a straight line. So the slope or the gradient at any 2 points of a straight line is always constant. So let's imagine we have 2 points, and this point, let's say we have point A, and the gradient at this point is, say, let's call x1 comma y1, and let's assume we have a point B here. The gradient here is going to be equals to what? X2 and y2, and let's assume we have a point C in which the gradient here is what? X comma y. So now if we want to find the gradient of this line, we can do two things. First, we can just what? We need to identify 2 points. So let's assume we identify point A and B. So we can calculate the gradient, which will be change in y over change in x, and in this case is going to be equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. But now let's assume the points I chose were point C and point A. So my slope now will be what? My change here now, which is y minus y1, in this case y minus y1 over, and my change in the x-axis will be my x coordinate, which is x minus what? x1 over here. So in general, if you have the coordinate of 2 points, we can find the equation of the line by applying this formula that says y minus y1 over x minus x1 is equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. From the 2 points, we already know the value of x1 and y1, x2 and y2. So when you substitute it into this formula, we get our answer in terms of y and x. So let's look at an example. And in this example, we are told to find the equation of the line that passes through point A is equals to this and B is equals to this. So as usual, the first thing we have to do is to label the coordinates. So we'll call here x1, call here y1, and we'll call here x2, and we'll call here y2. So the formula for calculating the equation of a line given 2 points is given as y minus y1 over x minus x1 is equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we apply the equation. So I have y now minus my value of y1 is given as what? 5 over x minus my x1 value is given as 1 is equals to my y2 value now is given as 8 minus my y1 value is given as 5 over my x2 value is given as minus 3 and my x1 value is given as minus 1. So what does become? I have y minus 5 over x minus 1 is equals to 8 minus 5 is 4 and minus 3 minus 1 gives me minus 4. So I have y minus 5 over x minus 1 is equals to minus 1. If I cross multiply, I have y minus 5 is equals to minus 1 times x minus 1. And what does that give me? I have y minus 5 is equals to minus 1 times x giving minus x, and minus 1 times minus 1 give me plus 1. So if I bring this minus 5 to the other side, I have y is equals to minus x plus 1, then this becomes plus 5. And I have y is equals to minus x plus 6. So the equation of the line that passes through point A and B is given as y is equals to minus x plus 6. So now, assuming you label this coordinate here as x2 and y2, and you label this coordinate here as x1 and y1, you will still have gotten this answer. So what I want to do now is that on your own, I want you to try that out and try to label this coordinate as x2 and y2 and try to label this coordinate as x1 and y1. So what you will have now will just be my A point, which is 1, 5, will be my x2 and y2, and my B point, which is what? Minus 3, 8, you have what? x1 and y1. So I want you to now use this labeling and apply to this formula and check if you will get the same answer. By default, you are supposed to get the same answer. So that is an exercise I want you to try out. So now let's look at another example. And we are told that a straight line makes an angle of 45 degrees on the x-axis. If it intersects the y-axis at y is equals to minus 5, find the equation of the line. So the first thing I would like to do is try to sketch out problem. So we have what? The xy plane, and I have a straight line now that passes through the y-axis at y is equals to minus 5. And I know that my negative axis of y is going to be what? Down there. So my minus 5 is going to be somewhere here. So the line passes through that point, y is equals to minus 5. So now the angle that it makes with the x-axis is given as what? 45 degrees. So now I want to find the equation of the line. So in general, I know that what? General equation of a line is given as y is equals to mx plus c, where m is the slope and c is the y-intercept. Now the slope m can be found as what? Tan theta, because in this case I'm giving the angle that the line makes with the x-axis. So my slope in this case will just be tan 45, and tan 45 is equals to 1. Now my y-intercept is the intercept in which the line cuts the y-axis, and I can see the line in this case, we told that it intercepts the y-axis at y equals to minus 5. So my y-intercept in this case is what? Minus 5. So if I substitute the value of m and c into the equation, I have y is equals to, my slope is what? 1 times x, and my c is what? Minus 5. So I have y is equals to x minus 5. So this is the equation of the line. So that pretty much sums up our discussion on finding the equation of a straight line.